Greetings, fellow fans of the pony kind. This is Mage speaking, and today we'll be taking a look at the episode Bats. Before we get started, I'd like to apologize for the lack of content lately, and thank you for sticking around nonetheless. As you may have guessed, I'll be doing Season 4 reviews from now on, but the episodes won't be in order. The more I have to say about the episode, the more likely it will get reviewed. So let's start with an episode I have a lot to say about. Firstly, may I just say how much I love the Fluttershy bat design? It makes it really hard for me to dislike the episode as much as I did. Oh, right. You might be surprised, but a lot of episodes in Season 4 so far have rubbed me the wrong way, and Bats is no exception. Actually, all of the problems in this episode that are driving me crazy are basically the sole reason why I'm doing a review on Bats first. Now, this is not to say that this is a bad episode, but all the little problems I have with it makes it hard for me to digest it. Let's start off with some smaller problems that can be categorized as nitpicks for the most part. First, why does Applejack go apple bucking as soon as the sun rises? She just stands there and wastes time until daybreak comes. How long does she stand there for? For a pony who likes doing her job, does it during every free minute, and is aware of how hard and taxing the job is, she should know better than to waste precious time like that. It's no big deal, but it does bug me that AJ would do that. The only semi-valid reason I can think of why she'd do it is because of some sort of long earth pony tradition that says you can't work before Celestia rises the sun or something. Second small issue. The giant apple was utterly pointless in the story. No, really, think about it. At the end of the episode, AJ really had no reason to sacrifice her prized apple. She could have just as easily sliced a bunch of smaller apples. It's been shown to work on other bats. I don't see why it should be different on Fluttershy. Even if it would be different, they don't know that. Don't you think that at least trying to use smaller apples first would have been preferable? It just had no good reason to be there. In addition, look at that Rarity, being more impressed by her reflection than the actual apple. This isn't an issue, just something I find mildly amusing. Another minor issue. What makes them vampires? What do regular fruit bats eat, and how do they eat their food if sucking the juice out of fruits is considered a vampiric trait? This isn't a big problem either though, it just sort of confused me a little. I guess the episode really wanted to have a vampire Fluttershy. I can't blame them, the fandom ate it up like fresh baked cookies. Smart move on their part. Now then, the following two problems are very connected, so I'll treat them as one big problem, and my Celestia are those huge problems for me. The bats and Fluttershy. Where do I even start this? Okay, let's start with the bats. In the episode, they are shown reading books, indicating they are sentient beings capable of language and analyzing information given to them. They are smart, basically. Now, being smart creatures, they willingly invade an orchard that they must be aware by now is owned by a pony who doesn't want them there, yet they continue to stick around and consume the apples. They are fully aware that they are stealing, and they don't give two bits about it. They're bullies and thieves, and that's what they are. Oh, but Fluttershy brought up some good points to defend them? No, she did not. Early in the episode, she says that she never met one of their kind before, meaning she knows nothing about their kind and can only make assumptions based on the fruit bats she's already familiar with. Nothing she says about them holds any weight, as there is no proof to any of that being the truth. What's worse is that she proposes to Applejack to give up part of her orchard to those bats because they're hungry. Okay, fine. What if more bats come? Will they expand the sanctuary? What if more species invade and refuse to leave? Will they get their sanctuaries too? Will Applejack just keep giving away her lands to any stubborn creature until she has no more land of her own? The bats are fully aware and are willingly being parasites. You don't just give such creatures what they want. But the worst part about this? Fluttershy was portrayed as being right all along in this episode. This hurts and saddens me on many levels. For one, I fell in love with Fluttershy as a character because she was not a typical cutesy girl that was never wrong because she's so sweet and innocent. I've seen that trope done in anime so many times that when I started watching MLP, I assumed Fluttershy would fit the bill. It was not so. She was like a real person with fears and flaws, but strengths and knowledge. The show treated her as a character, not like a pretty token, but I felt that they've been heading in that direction lately with her, and the episode supports this fare. Because she's the nice pony, she cannot be morally wrong. Because she's defending the animal, she cannot be wrong. But let me tell you, when roaches invade your home, you do not open up your pantry and invite them to feast on your food. You stomp the little butts out. I think they missed an opportunity for a good lesson here. Not every animal is a saint, and sometimes you have to do what you have to do to protect what is yours. That even if you are really good at what you do, you can still make mistakes and always learn something new. It would have been a good lesson for Fluttershy to learn that not every animal will listen, that not every animal wants to listen, and you shouldn't give up what you own for their ungrateful benefit, because who's to stop those vampire bats from eating everything in their designated area and then moving on to the rest of the orchard? They clearly hold no respect for the whims of the ponies, and no one can say for certain they've even agreed on the terms the ponies made. Actually, Applejack told us about what happened the last time vampire fruit bats hit her orchard. They wasted the place with no consideration for others, so what do you think that this time they'll act differently, especially since you have no way of communicating to them that they now have land they should stay in? In addition, not only is Fluttershy portrayed as morally right, but Applejack is absolutely villainized for wanting to protect her orchard and all of Ponyville from apple shortage. As much as I enjoyed the bat song, the little chanting circle in the end did AJ no justice, while all she wanted was to remove them from her property. Not eliminate, not hurt, just round them up and make them go someplace else, something far kinder most people would do when dealing with pests. One more thing, Fluttershy claims that AJ trees will grow stronger and faster, but Applejack doesn't need to grow any more trees. She said that stayed in her farming business where all she should worry about is harvesting the apples. But even if the apple trees do grow better and stronger, they'll only grow in the bad part of the orchard, as that is where they'll be eating and spitting out the seeds. So it wouldn't aid Applejack at all in the end, and even if AJ would make an effort to go gather the seeds, I'll come back to my point that she doesn't need more trees. One more thing, when they found out Fluttershy was a bat, why didn't they wait till morning when she turns back and confront her then? We know Fluttershy did this before, last night, when she ate all those apples. That only makes the giant apple sacrifice even more pointless. One more thing, Twilight's plan was to make the bats not to want to eat the apples. Do you know how inhumane that is? They'll starve to death. How is that preferable to just moving them out of the orchard? And one more thing, Fluttershy, make up your mind. First you said that the stare is an involuntary thing that just happens to you, then you use it on whim, now you're coming up with some sort of vow you've already broken in previous episodes. In addition, how's her stare causing them to be at full attention? I thought the stare frightens animals into submission and make them stare back at you in confusion. And one more thing, why is there a scarecrow there? You don't need scarecrows for apple farms. Scarecrows are used in open fields where there are no tall things to block the side of it, so that birds would assume there's a human out there and not approach the field. Having a scarecrow in an apple farm is pointless. And one more thing, where did Pinkie Pie get this flashlight from? Was it just there randomly on the ground and she picked it up? And why are there so many gems in the ground if they're supposed to be currency? If you can't get a few just by digging at the dirt for a few minutes, then why isn't everyone rich by now? Rainbow Dash, you're obnoxious. Spike, shut up, you didn't do anything. Sorry about that. I guess I went on a bit of a rant there. Well, with all that said, I don't really hate the episode. For one, the song it brought is probably my favorite of the season so far, and I love the bat flutter design as I mentioned before. There are a few gags that made me smile, and when I look back at it, I probably wouldn't mind watching the episode again in the future. I found myself enjoying quite a few shots and expressions in this episode for some reason, and I absolutely loved the first-person close-up view of Flutterbat. It was slightly shaky, reminding me of those scary movies where a person sees the spook through a camera or something. It was a nice little touch that I probably enjoyed much more than I should have. In the end, I guess I just can't bring myself to hate a Fluttershy episode, even if it did feel all wrong to me. There are episodes of Season 4 that I can safely say I dislike with a passion, but Bats is not one of them. We'll talk about those episodes when we come to them though, but for now, it's time to say goodnight and fare thee well, my friends. Mage out.